Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys my review for The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 3. This episode's called The Cell. And this episode came out on November 6th, 2016. And I like this episode. I thought this was actually a really good episode. I think it probably was a tad bit better than the last one, but the last one was still really good. This one I thought was really good for different reasons. This was really good on a different aspect. The last one was more of a positive episode. This one was negative, but I still thought they slowly did things to kind of build this Negan storyline. Um, so let me just get right into this. So this episode starts off with Dwight, and this episode kind of really went in to Dwight's character because the first time you didn't really see a lot about what he was about, and this episode I thought really kind of went into his character. You got to kind of see a little bit what he was about, and it shows a montage of him. He of like what because this is like the first time we've seen the Savior's place. We've seen um, Dwight and Negan and stuff all be together, and Dwight's making food for himself. He was watching this TV show. I don't remember the name of it. It's called um, yeah, I don't know the name of the I don't know the name um of the song that he was I don't know the name of the show that he was watching. But they even have like these zombies that they have like strapped into like spears and they just leave them out there and they're dead. I guess so that way no zombies will go near the place, which I think makes sense cuz um but these are like people that they probably take that we find out that they've taken before and put there. And then we find Dale. He's locked up in a cell, which fits the name of the episode, and he's being tortured. He's pretty much being held as a prisoner, um, and he's only being fed um, dog food, sandwiches, and they force him to listen to the same song over and over and over and over again. Um, because I have my friend who knows a lot about torture. He read a book about it, and he told me one of the things that they used to do to torture people as like a psychological type of way was they would have you listen to the same song over and over again to kind of really break you. And you could definitely see that that's what happened to Dale in this episode. He had to listen. He listened to this song called "Easy Street" by the um, Collapsible Hearts Club, and he listened to that song I don't know how many times because but it showed it a lot in this episode. And um, it was pretty much like the opening of the episode. And then he takes Daryl out to the doctors, and we see Sherry, who was from that episode when Dwight and Sherry and Tina all kidnapped Dale in the woods and tied him up and stuff. And that's from where he's from. So we saw her again. I actually didn't think we were going to see her again. I was kind of wondering whatever happened to her. And they actually kind of went back to that storyline. They remember that happened. I believe that was in season 6, episode 6, too, is when that happened. And Dale's being taken by the doctors, who we find out is Dr. Emmett Carlson, and he's being checked on since he was shot in the back in season 6, episode 15 by Dwight. And Sherry's trying to warn Dale, but Dwight tells her not to talk to him. And he takes Dale out to like the fence, and he said that you can either work for us or you can be one of them. So Dale's trying to find ways to break out of the cell. He's kicking at it, and he doesn't want to listen to this because he has to listen to the song like about 3 million times. And Dale even gets taken hostage by somebody, and he finds like a room, and we find out more about that later. And Dwight and Negan have a conversation, and I didn't think we were going to see Negan in this episode. I didn't think we were going to see him for a while. But but Dwight tells Negan that he appreciates how loyal he's been. No, Negan tells Dwight actually that he appreciates how loyal he's been to him, and how he's earned his shot. And he talks about how he can go see his wife since he's earned his keep. And Dwight refuses. He said he's still got to earn it. He's still got to break through to Daryl. And he even tells Daryl too that I was like how he was like him once. He used to refuse, but then he eventually started to follow Negan's orders. And Daryl says that that you're not gonna that he will never be like Dwight. Ow, fuck. But anyhow, then we find out that somebody escaped with their stuff. So Dwight wants to go after him. At first, Negan refuses, but Dwight wants to still earn his keep. So I'm going to kind of talk about, there's two storylines that happened, like, in between this. They were, like, mini stories, but I'll talk about Dwight's first, since he was the one that was brought, since he's the one I've been talking about. So Dwight, goes out to this, goes outside the town, and he finds like a ton of zombies that have been laid out. One does like a flip right off a bridge and almost goes right into Dwight, and he kills him. And then we met one of Dwight's old friends. We found out that and he was having a fight. We have Dwight has a fight, and yeah, I'm just trying to find that that's part of the story, but it doesn't have it in here. But him and Dwight and one of his friends have a fight, get into a fight. I believe his name was Joseph, but I'm not exactly sure. And they get into a scrabble. Dwight wins. Dwight has the guy hold gunpoint, and he just wants Dwight to kill him. He says that he doesn't want to deal with Negan's group anymore, and he said that and he says that Dwight's actually got some compassion. And if you have any compassion, you would kill me now. I thought we could beat these monsters, which are zombies, when we originally started, but I have nothing to go back to. And he gets on his knees and says, I'm not going to kneel for you anymore. Dwight keeps telling him to get to his feet. And if he doesn't, he's going to throw all of his friends and family out in front of the fence and be zombies. And he'll take out his wife's corpse and feed it to the crows. So the guy accepts. And when he gets to his feet, he tells Dwight that he wins. And Dwight then starts to show some human compassion and puts this guy out of his misery and kills him. I loved it. It was great. I thought this was you could kind of see that Dwight has some human compassion. And you could kind of see that they were slowly building to that by having Dwight go talk to Sherry. And, you know, Dwight's, and they were talking like, and asking her if he's good to her. And she says yes. And you could kind of see that they were hiding something that The Walking Dead didn't want us to know. And obviously we would find out later on. So let's get to that point. So Daryl escapes from his cell after somebody forgets to lock it. And he's going to escape. Sherry warns him not to escape and just to conform to Negan's group. Because if you don't, it's just going to get worse. It's just going to get worse. And he's about to escape and ride off into a motorcycle. But then Negan and a ton of his group stop him. They surround him like a hound of wolves. And Negan tells Dale that he has three choices. He can either be one of the... I forget the... he can either be tortured in the cell. He can be beaten to death. Or he can join... Negan's group. And then he asked, he's like hypnotized these people too, because every time he asks them their names, they say Negan. They think they're Negan because of Negan got into their minds so psychologically. And Negan threatens to beat the crap out of Dale with Lucille, and he says that, and then when Dale doesn't flinch when he's about to hit him, he says, "You don't scare easy." I like that, but Lucio doesn't like that very much. So he has Dale. So Dale gets pummeled by everybody like a pack of wolves, and then when Dwight comes back, um, Dwight shows a picture. He goes to feed Dale some food. He throws the food. Dale doesn't accept it. He shows a picture of Dwight shows a picture of Dale of Glenn that's all been that after he's been hit by Lucille, of him, his body all his head all smashed, and this makes Dale upset because obviously he feels kind of to blame that Glenn was killed because he beat up Negan, and they even played the song that really fit into this theme called "Crying" by um, Roy Orbison, and this actually fit because this actually made Dale cry. And afterwards, when Dwight comes in to take him to Negan's room, we see that he's thrown up and stuff. And Negan gives Dale another chance to. He takes him to a room that could be his, and he could be a part of Dale. But then not just that, we found out um, how Dwight became one of Negan's top men, one of his one of kind of what they called him, like one of his top lieutenants. So we pretty much found out the whole story of how Dwight was just like Dale, who he had to slowly break in the prison cell, and we found out that Tina was Dwight's sister, and Tina was sick and needed medication. So Negan was gonna marry her because she was hot, and just like Dwight's wife, she was also hot, and they had escaped and took all the medications and stuff to help Tina, and obviously we pretty much saw everything that happened, how everybody that went how then they kidnapped Dale, and that makes sense why Dale was shot when he was trying to lure the zombies away. That huge herd of zombies. It was Negan's men that shot at him, and then when Dwight him tied up Dale, that's probably why they thought that Dale was a part of them, and then Negan, and then obviously those men that were going to attack Dwight, Dale, Tina, and Sherry in the woods, and Dale had saved him and caused the guy to get his arm cut off. Dwight Negan talked about that, and then obviously we found out that when Dwight and Sherry had stolen Dale's motorcycle, to which they did a scene earlier too, where Sherry came up and said that she felt sorry for stealing the motorcycle every day of her life, and then we found out then Negan was pretty much gonna kill Sherry, but Dwight sacrificed himself so that way he wouldn't so that way his wife would live, but then Negan was gonna kill him, and then Sherry offered to marry Negan, and Negan accepted, and then that's how Dwight became Negan's top lieutenant. That made sense. That kind of gave us a picture of Dwight, so you could kind of see that he has some human compassion. And then he offers Dale the same thing. He could be just like Dwight. All Dale has to do is say his name, and he wants him to say that his name is Negan. They really build to that, and Dale didn't say a word anyways. He looked like that he was just physically tortured, and I think we were all supposed to think that he was going to join up with Negan and say that his name was Negan, and he was hypnotized, and psychologically he thought he was Negan. But then when Dale answers, he says his own name, Dale, and I loved it, and Negan says he made his choice. It's a dumbass choice, but he made his choice. Dwight throws him in there, and Dale says that he understood now why he stole his bike and why he became Negan's top lieutenant because you did it to save your wife and you were thinking about somebody, and I'm doing the same thing. And then Dwight closes the door, and when he walks out of the prison, we see that the person that he shot earlier in the episode is now one of the zombies, and Dwight kind of feels like he did the right thing, and you can kind of see that Dwight has, you know, you can kind of see why Dwight has some compassion because he's only with Negan to save somebody else. That's why he's obeying Negan. So I loved this episode. I thought this was a really good episode. I don't think it was quite a great episode, but it definitely was really good. I liked watching the stuff that went down with Dale get physically tortured by Dwight and Negan going through this whole process. I think Negan's been a great character. And I liked that we got to see a little bit more from Dwight. And I liked it. I thought this episode was really good. If I had to rate it, I'd probably give it a 7.6. It wasn't quite. It was a little bit above a 7.5, but it wasn't quite a a great episode. But I still thought this was really good. I think what they're doing is they're trying to slowly build this Negan storyline into like this huge thing. Right now, they're gonna do little teasers to it, and then obviously when Negan. When they really want to fight Negan, then we'll get like this big story. Because they have a lot of characters now, too. They have the characters from the last episode. They have Rick's group. They have the Hilltop. And yeah, I still think that's a problem. But The Walking Dead's trying to work with it. But yeah, that's still a problem with The Walking Dead. Is there's just way too many goddamn characters. But I still thought this was a really good episode. And I still think The Walking Dead has been a good show so far. This season so far has definitely been better than what I saw in the trailer, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, I kind of want to see what's gonna happen from this with this Negan storyline. I think this Negan storyline should go on for a while, but we'll have to wait and see. But that's pretty much it, guys. I may make another one of these videos. It's probably not going to be right away because I have to go somewhere at 3, and the next episode's an hour. And like almost an hour long, and it will take me a little bit to review it. So I'll probably review the episode when I get a chance. But I'll be back then. But I'm gonna go watch it right now and see if I can get the review up. But that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.